Morning, y'all. It's gonna be kind of windy. It might be a little noisy. It's about a little after 9 a.m. on Saturday morning, the 24th of May. And I just wanted to do a little catch up with you guys and have a little bit of a discussion. I am going to change my channel name, and I'm just going to change it to Kate's Rambles because that's what you're going to be getting. And anyone who was here because they wanted to see my chickens or all my cats or watch me ramble around my yard in Delaware, I'm sorry. And if you don't want to stay and watch my channel, I don't blame you. I have been so absent these last 8 months. And I've apologized over and over, and I just, in 8 months, my life has just totally made a total 360. Just totally turned around. So, you know, it's not as easy to go around and film other people's chickens. Even the goats aren't out of bed this morning. But I'm going to show you what I've been up to. Most of you, some of you probably know, or maybe you don't if you don't follow my Facebook, but I lost my Lotto, my baby kitty, this week. Starting last Saturday, he seemed to be going the early stages of organ failure. He was just sleeping a lot, isolating himself, only drinking, not eating. From what I could tell, he was in no pain. You know, when I would sit down and pet him and talk to him sweetly, he would purr. Monday night, he was a little worse. He soiled himself. He just peed himself, and he didn't get up. So I cleaned it up and gave him a baby wipe bath. You know, I didn't want to traumatize him anymore. They wanted upwards to $400 if I took him to the emergency vet to have him put to sleep. And I'm like, you know, an $18 shot is all he needed. And I was ready to let him go because you know, he had been in a little bit of just changing. You could tell his age was catching up with him. And you know, baby kitty had thyroid disease, and I think it was finally going to taking his life. So here's a little goat yard, and there's no goats out. We'll zoom in. They have a cute little yard. Anyway, we're at the camper because that's where I live. I've been cleaning this morning, so I've got trash I'm going to take out. I mopped, all that stuff. It rained wee hours in the morning. I didn't even notice it, but I pulled, the sun had kind of dried my awning, so I retracted it because the wind was picking up. But it looks like now that any of the weather's past us, so I'm probably going to put it back out so it dries. I don't like to leave it up when it's kind of damp. I don't want it to mold and mildew. So you see my chair. I'm using my Engel Bear Box as a little table. And so this is Purslane. Portulaca is in its family. It's a southern plant. You'll find it all over the South, like growing in cracks of sidewalks, and it has a large variety of colors. So the sod my landlord put in, look beautiful. We've got enough rain. I'm going to keep watering some of this that needs. I had mentioned in a video that when they were working on doing their fence here, they came up through this area because I wasn't home. There was no car in the way, and his skid steer tore up part of the grass here, and I knew it wasn't coming back. But look what is. So I came out here and roughed up the soil and threw in my Delaware wildflowers. And they are all seed that grows here too, but so I'm not like, I don't think I'm cross-contaminating with any kind of wildflowers. But this is going to have cosmos, 4 o'clocks, zinnia, and whatever other little seeds I picked up. So all these little green things you see in this mud and debris is wildflowers. And then yesterday I came out and along this edge here, I planted a bunch more shade-loving wildflowers because we get this is the morning sun coming out of the east here. But by lunchtime, these trees are shading it quite a bit. And if I have my awning out, that helps. But I want to utilize these little branches that he cut off on the cedar tree. Right now, I just have my old bead wind chime thing that my friend made me for my birthday. My friend Jennifer made it for me when I turned 50. And it's been out in the sun and on the chicken coop, and I'm sure you've seen it in old videos, but yeah, get a little owl. Though I'm a cat and chicken person, I do like owls. So anyway, I'm going to baby them and nurture them. These over here are Amanda Villa. And I got a couple of those. Were gifted to me. And they've just been blooming, and they like a lot of sun, and they'll get quite a bit of sun. They get at least 6 hours, so they're happy. So here's my little camper. I know it looked trashy with my trash, but when I gather it up, because I have such a little floor place, I just set it out the door, and I have to do some laundry today, so I'll probably put my laundry in, drive the trash up to the can, and then I gotta go pick up some prescriptions and do some shopping, grocery shopping today. But that's wet now. I put it out here to dry because it had gotten, baby kitty had soiled one little corner of it, and so I cleaned that corner, but then I put it out here to dry, and now it's been rained on. So there's my green stalk planter. I'm sorry, you know me, I'm a horrible videographer, a mediocre creator, and that's being generous. So I pulled, it's not, there's 4, but one of it I'm using for my tomato plants. And if I can swing it before payday's not till next Friday, I'm going to get some soil and some cucumber plants and some pepper plants, but we'll see. I don't want to overdo it. I might just stick with tomatoes because cucumbers are something that, you know, it's easy to get and pretty cheap, but I'm picky about my cucumbers. And I've grown such great, incredible, giant cucumbers. Now, I don't know how well they'll do here, but we'll see if my cucumber green thumb holds up. So, look at my tomato plants. Yep, this little smaller one here are called Little Bing. And they are going to be little cherry tomatoes. And then this big one over here that's flopping all over the place is called a heat master. And I've never grown heat masters. I'm sure there's something hybridized, but just because the heat eventually, by the time they're growing, our heat's gonna, you know, increase exponentially. To me, it seems kind of cool. The weather's been milder considering it's May, but look, we got little flowers. And you know, I was gonna just skip growing any kind of vegetables this year. Thought about it, I tossed it around. I can't afford to put in the kind of raised beds that I want, but maybe next year. But I could not grow something. It's not in me. And this, I put a little thing in it that I'd found like at the dollar store just to see if it would bloom. It didn't. Little spider, run, little spider, because I don't have a lot of tolerance for spiders. This is zinnia, and so I had a packet of zinnia that I had got. Just a cheap pack of zinnia seeds. We're like on clearance somewhere, like 50 cents a pack of seed. So they didn't seem to have any expiration date on them. And looks like they're going to come up nicely. So that's good. This flag stand is just, the base broke. It was a cheap something I grabbed at Dollar Tree, so you know, I'm not heartbroke. But I don't know, I just love the sarcasm of the sign. World's okay as a neighbor. So yeah, this is what we're doing. Now I think maybe in the last video you saw that this was all mud. And he's put sod down. And I guess he's going to plant some flowers there. I mean, he'll leave me in charge of it. It'd be beautiful. Can I turn that into my raised bed garden? Wouldn't that be awesome? That gets a lot of sun. If he said, yeah, you can grow a vegetable garden there. Oh my God, I would be jazzed. But, you know, I don't really know if I have the time. I really don't. So, I don't know if I've ever filmed a little homestead from there, but from here you can see the whole camper. The black box on top is my AC unit. That silver thing over there is the solar panel, which I don't have hooked up yet. And I do believe I have to get an inverter for it. I could probably hook it up and run it through my Rock Pals. I have a 300 amp hour charger. It's like a Jackery. But I don't know where all the cables are, wires are. I would probably get someone who's better versed at doing solar stuff. I have no idea about electronics. I'm just not that person. But like I said, I do have another 100 watts, so I think there's 200 watts up there, and mine would make another 300 watts. So I'm thinking, I mean, I don't worry about power bills here. It's part of my rent, but I might try whenever I can afford an inverter and probably the battery for it. But see, I don't have to get a battery. I can use my Rock Pals, but it's several years old. I don't know. I'll have to talk with someone about the solar, and someone who's going to be honest. And so here, I bought these little things. Well, I got them for free, actually. And we're buying something. So they're still out here. I put them out here. They have adhesive thing on the bottom. They're not, I put them out here and just so I could, let me still see where it was folded, see how much I need to cut off. I hate that I have to cut anything off. I could probably not, you know, but the steps already have this kind of the sandpapery grit. But, you know, that's if you step on that like with the toe of your shoe, which is fine. But, you know, I wear Crocs a lot or flip-flops. But when you step back here on that, if your foot's at all wet, you kind of almost slide through. I almost slid one leg through, and luckily half my butt caught me and I sat there. But a little porcelain. This is a little turtle I got from my friend Nancy probably 25 years ago. And I just carried him around. Even at my sister's, he hung out on a rock under her, in a little tree she had in her house. But I'm just excited that my wildflowers took. I was really worried that when I gathered them, they weren't dry enough. You know, they seemed really dried out, and some had fallen to the ground. But I just worried. I put them in a little airtight little container, them and all the seeds I gathered, and brought them here. And they, until about 2 weeks ago, they were sitting in that little butter dish, and none of them, when I opened it up, nothing seemed to have mold or mildew or like there was any moisture to damage them or make them rot. And so I just, you know, said, you know, what the hell, I can't, you know, we'll see if they survived. You know, if I carry that little butter dish around forever until I, you know, it could be several years before I have my permanent homestead place. But I do think that this little thing is not wildflower. No, there's a lot of briars through here, and he's pulled some out. That's what some of this stuff is. But you know, they're hard to kill, so probably going to have to get some sort of chemical out here to kill them. I have, there's a lot. The goats have eaten down they're half of that, and whenever one gets too tall, I lean it over and push it over through the fence and let the goats nibble on it. But I will just come out and continue to clip these off. What you can do, and people don't realize it, that if you, well, there's all this gravel there. If you kind of get under where there's a bigger chunk of root, if you inject some rubbing alcohol or just a few cc's of bleach into it, it'll kill it. But I mean, I don't really mind if it's up around the bottom of this tree, but this tree, I think it's, well, it's got some green up there, but most of it looks kind of dead. So if it gets to a point where I think it's going to be any kind of worry, like some deadfall, but it's pretty solid. But I just hung that there for now. I liked that spot better, but it was too close. But maybe not. Yeah, that's fine. You know, that's more like something that I would rather hang from my awning. But if the clouds are burning off, I'm probably going to put the awning back out because it does help keep the house cooler. We're going to go in for a minute and end this video. But yeah, I'm going to change the name of the channel because there's no chickens, there's not really any garden. So I'm getting ready to take a shower. Got my clothes laid out. Here's a little peek into where I'm at today in the camper. I just mopped the floors. That's my little setting area. And usually by about 8 or 9 o'clock at night, then I move my laptop over here. Of course, the windows are closed. On my pile of hiking boots and pile of old yearbooks. And then I'll just, watch till I start to knot off. That was a gift. It's a lumbar pillow. Yes, I'm an Anglophile, but my heritage is mainly Scottish and British. I think I'm 56% Scottish and the rest is all, I don't know, I can't remember anymore. They change it, but yeah, with a I've got my smattering of Native American in there, and really Scottish, Irish, British, Native American, like 2% of something from Sweden, but hey, ancestors, when it comes to European backgrounds, that everybody slept around, everybody, tried to marry their daughters and their children off to, in other lands and to help with inbreeding. But this is just my knick-knack shelf and things that I had to unpack because I had no room in here for boxes, and things I love and things I love to look at regular, but I didn't save a lot. I just brought stuff that meant to me: lead crystal vase, some antique spice and cream and sugar dishes, some little Lenox porcelain I've had forever. My mother loved elephants. That was one of my mom's. Some antique teacups, some books, This fell, well, it didn't just fall off the wall. It was over here, where that is. But the night that it started leaking into my camper, and I had to get the sliding pulled in because we were having such a blowing rainstorm, I forgot. I put the bed up and I forgot it was there, and it ripped that one off. This one, but once I heard that one come off, that I dropped it, and I saved this one and tucked them under. But I had to fold up my bed and put my mattress in the hall. And anyway, I've got some damp red things, but I've noticed I'm gonna have to get, I don't know, maybe I can get it payday. I don't think I'll be able to afford to, but I've got to get a small dehumidifier, because though I keep the house, I try not to let it get too wet and icky. And you can hear my vent fan in there. I always run the vent fan if I feel too much moisture, especially when I get ready to take a shower. But for anybody who hasn't seen any camper, this is that is the floor space in my bathroom. This is my feet. But that's plenty for me. I just need room to be able to brush my teeth, settle on the toilet, and take a shower. This is where I was keeping all Baby Kitty's medicines. I haven't put anything up there yet, but it's a great towel holder utilizing my door. And then I have another one on this side that holds pens, and these are silicone straws. I use washable silicone straws and just some stuff. That's a pair of reading glasses, because well, it's not like I have to walk far to find another pair. But I have 3 pair, and I couldn't find any of them. And here I am. I'm like, where in the hell can they be? There's only so much space. I'm turning a circle. So, but I did buy a little air fryer, because it's a lot of things. Like last night, I just made potato wedges. I had these potatoes. I needed to cook them up. And I'm so poor I can't be wasting any food right now. So I just tossed them in some oil and some garlic and seasonings and air fried them up. I fell in love with one that was more of a white. I'm not someone who's big into all black appliances, but I've already got black appliances, my microwave and my fridge. This is to lock it when you're on the road. I have people go, what is that thing sticking out there? So black's fine. I'll go with a black and white base, and then I'll just throw pops of color in. I'm not one to have a theme or a certain style of decorating. And in such a small space, I'm not worried about it. These are just things I've had forever, 25, 30 years I've had that. Oh my God, that too. All these things are very, very old. These are from the early part of the, probably from the 30s or 40s. Those are from Hawaii, and they're made out of something native in Hawaii. Those are gold. Anyway, my little owls. But these are just Kate's little knick-knack things. These you put like a piece of cotton or something in there that's soaked into a essential oil. They have a little hole. It's going to hang one in my car, but I'm like, oh my God. I don't think I can get anything in that hole. That it'd be more thread-like, but I may still do it. I don't know. But anyway, they set up there. That's a teeny tiny bottle of Ralph Lauren Safari. That is. I got it when I was 21 or 56, so do the math, yeah. It's perfume oil. I've never opened it. I think it still smells okay. I don't know. I'm not big into sniffing those things, but... So when I shut my door is pretty stiff. Even my landlord noticed that when you open it, it's stiff. I probably need to WD-40 it. But it means it can't blow open. It doesn't blow around. But you have to give it a pretty good tug to make it latch. And all of this stuff starts marching forward. That's my little bee here, my little brass bee. Isn't he cute? I just love him. This is a dragonfly, but she's on a push pin like thing. She's for putting into... for candles, you know, people used to put little jewelry on their candles, but I love dragonflies. So my little owls. Now, I've measured this, and a 24-inch TV, which is, let's see, 14 on my laptop, but I'm thinking I can go up to about 26 or 27-inch, and I'll definitely mount it. That way I can swivel it out this way, make it swing out, and I'll just move that stuff over, or it can be behind the TV. I don't know. We're just throwing out that stuff now because I'll have to plug it in and hook it up there. But all these little outlets show that these, when you hook it, will be on the inverter. So anyway, this is where we're at. See, I've got more little flower seeds. I got them. These are cat treats. This is just like stuff that I just grab every day, like the poop bags. These are for actually human waste. If you're camping, you can use these bags, and then you can even bury them. They're biodegradable, but I use them for the cats, and then I put it in the dumpster. But anyway, I had to do some work on my sewer hose because when they were weed eating around my house, apparently camper the other day, apparently they hit my hose. Nobody told me. I thought I saw a couple lines. I'm like, no, there's no slits in there. It's just my eyes. Because at the time, I wasn't enclosed where I could just get down on the ground and look. So the next morning, or later that night, when I went to empty my gray tank, sure enough, I went outside, pulled the valve, and those little slits just popped right open. And you can tell it's not something, it was not in a place where it would be pressure. It would just split on its own. And they were too close together. You know, you could tell that. I knew automatically they had been hit with the weed eater because the weeds around it were also down. So this will be my little yard. Now I don't have I'm at the very far edge of my campsite. I probably got about 2 or 3 feet on the other side of me. You know, my slides out probably to the very edge of my line. And then I go all the way to that little 13 there. So I don't have a couple chairs and a small rug. You know, and then once this grass comes in nicely, I can still park my car. I've got it pulled up kind of close, but I can move it at a different angle, and I've got like an area where I can have, and when the grass and the flowers come in, the grass could now probably handle a couple lawn chairs and people walking on it. I don't see that being a problem. But, I'm not going to have a lot of company, but I do want to have a little bit of, be able to have, 2 or 3 people over if I wanted, or have a little weekend, half dozen people for a little cookout one day, maybe this summer or in the fall. I don't know. I'm just, like I said, I'm just throwing out thoughts and ideas. I'm going to get another shelf. I have one here, and I've got bowls and stuff stacked up there, but I'm going to get another one, a bigger one, so I can utilize that better. For pots and pans right now, I'm just using my camping stuff, because I don't really, I've never used 2 burners at once. Yeah, that way, and that way I can, I'm going to get something to stack spices and vegetables, anything right there. Right now I'm using these 2 drawers for dry good foods. And this is holding a Dutch oven, extra pitcher, ice bin, just extra stuff that I don't have room for. But here we are, visiting Kate's little camper, listening to her ramble on about shit, because that's what this channel's about. If you want to listen to me ramble and just see how my life is going to proceed, starting over here, stay tuned. I'll try to get more videos out. I don't film a lot when there's people around because I am very uncomfortable filming in front of people. There's my little chickens from Rose. Yeah, Rose lives in Dublin, England. I love her so much. But anyway, yeah, this is just home for now. These bandanas I just have here temporarily to keep Pandy's little claws out. Yeah, it's not a decorating thing, it's a preservation thing. And like when I leave in the morning, if I have like a sweater or if there's something laying like my nightshirt or something, I'll toss it over the back. She's got her clawing thing, her little clawing pad, and she's been doing really good on that, but also just when they jump up here, they can make these little nicks. So I do plan on eventually getting some covers for those. The only thing that sucks is I can't really go behind here, so I'm going to have to get something that I can affix to the top of this, where it stops here, and then, you know, cover those cushions up. The one thing about putting something that's just one piece, I have jeans stored under there. I have a space I'm going to bring. I still have a bunch of my shoes, my winter shoes and other shoes, boots and stuff at Paula's. So I'm going to bring them. I still have my my Instapot pressure cooker. So I'm debating whether to put my shoes in there or just, you know, move my jeans back, put the Instapot and other things that are going to be utilized in this area in there. This side has extra hangers, electronic stuff. And I probably got some room in there too, but this cubby over here, I wasn't putting anything in it yet because baby kitty liked to sleep back there. Right now it's just got some scarves and my solar panels, my portable solar panels. I put a little hooks right up there by that light so I can hang a hat or a scarf or whatever over that light, and because it is like beacon blinding you. But anyway, that's where we're at. I keep jewelry and other, you know, other important things or delicate things back under there, but these have worked out fine. I've got a drawer for bras, which I don't wear very often, only for work. Otherwise, I avoid them. And then kind of a knick-knack electronic extra cord drawer. And then over here, these two drawers, which are not easily accessible, are undies and socks. So they don't need to be accessible to anyone but me. So these have come in handy. This has some canned goods and some dry goods, tea, stuff like that. That has a tablecloth and some other things. Not a lot of dry goods because I have not been able to buy a lot of groceries. But I should be able to go grocery shopping today. Yay! These are the plants my sister potted for me. This is a type of aloe vera. It's a little pokey, but I mean, it's not like pokey gets stuck and you hurt you. And the best way to take care of this aloe and the snake plant is to ignore them. Just ignore them until they look so dry. If you start to see them have a little yellow or these not look as plump, if you notice they're like not like a flat, they're pretty plump, then you give them a little water. The snake plant is not going to, once it gets a little bit bigger, they'll start to open up and then their leaves will be kind of shaped like that. But it's very good for purifying your air. So, in a little camper, my sister thought that would be very apropos here. So, during the day, I only open this blind. I don't open the windows. They're open today because there's a breeze and I wanted to just air the camper out, but it's going to get hot again. But I do open the blinds over here and lift them so that Pandy can look out the window at her leisure, if she wants. And I open the little ones, and then I open that only about that high or lower because I don't want the camper to be heating up on days where it's really long. I wish I had one in the bathroom, but I don't. But the zip fan helps to keep the airflow. So you saw the sun, and I'm kind of facing the east. So really, I don't get a lot of direct light into either of my big windows. So it's clouding up again, so I'm not going to put my awning back out. I was going to when we were out there because it was looking really sunny. But all right, well, I'm going to stop rambling and let y'all go, and we'll close out on Miss Pandy. It's just me and Pandy now. I always had a premonition and an idea that, and a vision of just being Pandy in a little place someday, and here we are. I got my tears out before baby kitty died, and I had a good cry the morning I found him. I mean, I saw him. I didn't really cry. I cried in the car on the way to work. And then I got because I hadn't seen another human being, my coworker, she gave me a hug, and that made me cry a little bit. But I prayed a lot Monday and over the weekend for God just to take him peacefully and quietly in his sleep, and that's what he did. And I am grateful, and I feel blessed that I didn't have to watch him suffer, and that he didn't suffer more than anything. Yeah, part of the prayer is probably selfish because I didn't want to witness it. But I didn't want to witness it because it just breaks my heart. Penny's like, stop filming me, I'm trying to sleep. She got her hand, right here's her paw. She's covering up her face. She's like, Mom, I'm trying to sleep, leave me alone. Alright, Pandy. You have your morning nap, and I'm going to let these folks go. Love you guys. Please stick around, and I will continue to vow to do more of these. Thank you for your patience and your love and your understanding, and now I think the real adventure of my new life. You know, everything else seemed to prep, just me sleeping on my sister's couch and working, and that's all I do now is work. But I'm in my own place, and things are starting to develop, and I just have to be patient. And I'm pretty chill and laid back, so I'm not going to rush anything. I'm just going to enjoy this. But yeah, this week I buried one kitty and made my first camper payment. So yeah, the times they are changing. Bye, y'all.